What's happening? We're talking about the open position dominant chords. All right, so let's start out with A7. We start with our open A string, then our second fret on the D string. We're going to have an open G, and then our second finger will hit the second fret on the B string. You can also include the high E in this if you want. That's the sound of a dominant 7 chord, also known as just a 7th chord. I like to relate the 7th chords to ice cream, major being vanilla, minor being chocolate, and dominant 7 being strawberry. Because if you're wondering what makes a dominant 7 chord, it's a major triad, so it's the same thing as we were playing like an A major, but we're adding a flat 7 to that chord. So for instance, in the key of A, our flat 7 would be G. So instead of doubling the A where we were before in the major chord, we're gonna drop that down a whole step to the open G string, and that is now our 7th. So we have our major triad with the flat 7 on top, strawberry being a lot like vanilla, just a little funkier. Here's our dominant. So that's A7. Alright, can't play, oh actually yeah, B7 open. We'll go second finger on the second fret A string, so that's B, that's our root note. Then we'll have our first finger on the first fret D string, third finger on the third fret G string. We'll have the B string open to double it, and then F sharp, which is the second fret on the high E string, to complete it. So that's a B7 chord. As I mentioned in the other videos, it's a good idea to arpeggiate the chords individually before playing it as a whole, just to make sure you're getting all the notes. As we go on to these more advanced chords, each note plays a very important role within the chord, so you want to make sure it's coming out nice and clear. So that's B7. Now let's go to C7. Just like your C major chord, except now we're going to drop down and we're going to add a B flat. So we take our pinky and we drop it on the third fret G string. So that gives us that B flat. C7. Alright, let's go on to a D7 chord. Here we're going to have our root note be the open D string. Second finger is going to come down, second fret G string. Our first finger is going to come down, hit the first fret on the B string. And then our third finger is going to come down and hit the second fret on the high E string. D7. So if you notice, this is almost like the D major chord upside down. Here was our D major. But all we're changing is this D is now going to become a flat 7, which in this case is a C. We still have the D being played because we're playing the open D string. So, from D major to D7. D7. Alright, let's move on to an E7 chord. E7 is played just like E major, except we're going to add one more note. So here's our E major. Now let's add the D, which will be the third fret on the B string with our pinky. E7. If this is too much of a stretch for you, or you've heard it can be played a number of ways, that is true. And you would do that by just lifting up your third finger on the D string. So now we're playing our open E, second fret A string, open D, first fret G string, open B, open E. There's another way to play E7. However, depending on your song, you may not want to use it. To me, it sounds a little bit muddy in the low end. It all depends on the context. So once again, E7 can be played with the pinky or without. F7, we're going to have to get into some bar chords. G7, kind of like the open position I showed you in the majors. You're going to use your third finger on the low E string, which is G. Then we'll have our second finger come down, hit the second fret on the A string. Then we'll have open D, open G, B string. And then first finger is going to come down and hit the first fret on the high E string. So this is G7. Alright, so a nice chord progression that I like to do for beginners would be E minor to A7. Because really all you need to do is shift your second finger from the second fret on the A string to the second fret on the B string. Let's check that out. Try arpeggiating it. Come to think about it, there is one more way to play A7. So here I'm playing it with the open G. If you want, play your A major normal and add either your third finger or your pinky to the third fret high E string. That is also G, so that's our 7th. So once again, it depends on the context. Sometimes if you need more of that open string sound, you're gonna wanna go with that version. But if it's more of a funk thing, you might wanna have the G on top. Either way, it's all good. We'll see you next time.